is that after making a mistake, we need to face up to it. We need to tell the truth. That is integrity, telling the truth and honoring promises no matter the consequences.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh, tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a god. 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 I don't know how to stop. I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me. Put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grade 16 like Kenny. Call me a god. Call me a god. Call me a god.
I'm called of God. Called of God. And Tim Ballard told me he'd been called of God. Some wild-eyed prophet like...
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you. I am the devil, one shit like.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing? How's it going? Yeah, speak your mind. I just happened to see that and I was like, oh, hell, here we go. So I'm going to go and investigate. But then again, it's like, okay, everybody's entitled to their own freaking opinions. That is for sure. And I got to hear everybody else's. So this is what I do. And this is how I deal with my grief, my family, the loss of my loved ones. And it just is what it is. And anybody who doesn't like that, kick rocks. It is so easy. So anyways, I don't know who said it. And it's probably, I don't know. I don't know why. Anyways, and not only that, it's so massive. And with all the trauma that comes along with this, it's massive. It's a conspiracy case. It's not just two people. It's not just three, in my opinion. There's more. And I made a vow, and maybe this will help that person. I made a vow to my uncle, my dead uncle. I made a vow to him, and then followed whenever they found Tylee and JJ's remains on Chad Daybell's property. I made a vow to my uncle, to them, that I would not ever stop until everyone with their hand, with my family's blood on their hands, was held accountable, or at least exposed. That's what I'm doing. I'm being a woman of my word. It's called integrity. And I'm just trying to do the best I can and be a woman of my word that I made to my dead family whose voices were stolen. That's why I'm here. So, not only that, it is something that I like to do. I like to engage with my community that's been built up here over tragedies, but I have to say, I mean, this is not something I was expecting ever. Never did I started I already had a YouTube channel. And apparently anybody with a Gmail address has a YouTube channel. However, I never used it for anything like that. I didn't know any of this world existed. And I have to give the true crime community props because they really do deal with a lot of shit. You know, it's a lot of people, so many different perspectives, so many different beliefs, and so many different backgrounds and perspectives. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it turns out it takes a village from all around the world that's made up from all around the world to grieve them as well and to get justice through understanding. So that's where I stand. To whomever it matters to. So I didn't get any answers. I didn't get many more answers from Lori's trial. I mean, I was just like, okay. They basically read a lot of the things that happened with my Uncle Charles in Arizona, which is ongoing as well, and Brandon Boudreaux. They read a lot of those FOIA documents into record. So it became part of trial testimony, which is important. However, I had already seen them. I had already gone through them. I had already hashed these things out in my mind and in my live streams with you guys. We've all done it. Or at least those of us, that are here, I guess, with the same kind of mindset. That's what I assume. And so, it's just, you get to a point where you're just like, okay, it's never enough, and it's never going to be what you want or what Pete and Joe and Tom, Dick, and Harry want or how they handle things, but it's how I handle things. I'm Cresha Easton, by the way. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Glad you are here, and because you want to be here and because you understand, it's not about me. It is about the promise I made, and it's about giving the victims a voice. They have had their stories told by Tom, Dick, and Harry's and Dateline and 48 Hours and Netflix and Hulu, and they've had everybody tell their stories, but you have to kind of, and I'm not here to do that for them either. I'm just here to be the aunt that I never really was able to be. I'm here to be the niece that I vowed to be to my uncle. I'm here to be Tylee's voice, or to help pull that out, to pull the truth out, because there are 3 sides to every story, so to speak. There's his, hers, and then there's the truth. The truth is just standing there and it's like, hey, but you kind of have to draw it out because there are so many people with their own narratives, with their own skeletons in their closets, that some things just don't come to light right away, but they do come to light. Have no fear. I've watched it. We've watched it. We've watched it evolve and happen, and kind of like the rest of Chad and Lori's movement has been rearing its ugly ass head in all these other Mormon related crime cases that deal with ABUSE of children that claim second coming, and Nephi and Laban and all the freaking things, because it's the same people. It's the same movement. And that's been my theory from jump. Just didn't know how to get anybody there. I didn't know how to get me there, but I'm there. Oh, I'm there. So, anyways, I was pretty excited earlier today before watching KJ's video. And then I was like, oh my God, you really, really did put things into perspective for me big time. So I hope that everybody went and watched KJ's. We're kind of feeding off each other, and I really like it. Not the content. I like how it's like it triggers things for me. It triggers things for a lot of us. It really does. And that's the point of this. The point of this is to see what and how and kind of what to expect for Chad, because I too have felt at times that it's always been Lori, 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 Lori. And I think that's so not just because her trial went first, but because she's a mother, or she was a mother to those beautiful babies. And she forfeited that. Those kids did not have a choice in this matter. And that is disturbing beyond everything. They relied on her and, my Uncle Charles, Joe Ryan. They relied on others to their children. I mean, you don't just, pop them out and then pat them on the butt and send them on their way. No. So, I mean, they definitely got robbed in this. And I'm not trying to be ugly, especially to my Uncle Charles. I love him, but he was a grown man. He had, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had free will or free agency or whatever, but they did not. The kids did not. And I mean, I feel guilty for even saying that, but it's just like, okay, he was a grown up though. Okay. I'm not saying he did not deserve it. Neither did Tammy, and neither did Joe, and none of these. Brandon didn't deserve it, but they're children, and that's their mother, and then that's their mother's side piece, and then that's Chad's concubine, aka side piece. And so it's our job as society. It is. I feel more empowered now, more driven, more ambition, more drive, and everything just pushing me forward. I've never wanted to be an activist or a advocate or I mean, there's so many things that I don't know. And I mean, I'm not an expert. I never went to school for this shit. This is called the Life of Hard Knocks or the School of Hard Knocks. And it's through experience, through trauma, through loss and grief and pain, and sharing with the whole world, because this case made it onto the public, into the public eye. At first, it intimidated me, and I was like, oh my God, this is weird. It's weird. It is. I'm just saying, it is. It's weird sharing your family with the entire world. But then I got to a point where I was like, oh my God, I don't know how family members who lose their loved ones, especially children, to violent crime, homicide, especially by people within your own family. But truth is, that's usually the case. It's usually has to do with their loved ones, those closest to them. It's just betrayal, and it's sad, and that's another reason. That's another reason I'm here, and that's another reason you are here. And if you don't think that you are big enough to make a difference, that's why I say there's power in numbers. Because I feel the same. I feel this little, what am I going to do? What, it doesn't bring them back. No, but it maybe might save lives in the future. It might bring meaning and not make their deaths in vain. That's my blood. That's my family's blood. And is their blood's precious? They were precious. They are precious. And they serve as a reminder of what not to do. How not to let your loved ones and other little children and other unsuspecting spouses fall through the cracks, because it really is horrible. But anyways, I don't want to cry. Anyways, but yeah, KJ, there's so many times I've tried to put that any of the timelines around the kids together, and I can't. It's overwhelming. Nobody's done it. Nobody's done it. You got the closest today. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I had came up with this wild, out of nowhere theory, out of nowhere. I mean, left hook, pow. And I was like, oh shit. So then I started researching, something totally off the beaten path, so to speak, for me. And then I watched your video and I was like, well, crap, I'm not going to have this ready at all. And then again, I'm like, well, I could just play, some of Chad Daybell's trial or pre-trial hearings or whatever, things to remind us, things to jog our memories, things to lock into place for the first time. There's things that when we watched them back then, when we experienced them back then, there's a whole year that was a blur for me. It still is a blur. I look back and I'm like, I don't remember. I remember something like that. I don't know when. And it's trauma. And it turns out that this theory, I don't even know if it's a theory. I think it's more like it explains the end game, not just for Chad and Lori, but this whole Mormon movement. And it just kind of like, it clicked for me today. And so I really don't even know how to go about it as far as, sharing it with you guys. I want to give it a well-researched presentation, but, I mean, it's just after I read it, or said it out loud to Jason, and my best friend Terry came by today. It was so nice to see her, y'all. We've been best friends. I'm 45 since I was 7. She was 6. And this case these murderers have you wake up and then you're like, oh my God, it's been almost 5 years. My kids are like way bigger, and I feel like I've missed so much. So, I don't want to miss much. I want to be present. But to an extent, some people can say or may say that it allows Chad and Lori to win. And that's not it at all. I know how that can appear, but it's not. I'm an underdog, and I have more time and patience than many people, and they're not really going anywhere. And I want to get to the bottom of the story. I want to get to the root of the problem so that we can begin acknowledging it and raising awareness about it and implementing procedure laws. Let's walk some policies through. Let's change some bills and laws, and let's do this shit. I am a whole asser. I might not be organized or well-spoken, but I have heart and I have soul and I've got purpose. And it is Tylee, JJ, Charles, and then through this, Tammy and Joe and Brandon and my parents and my brother and just my family, our families, our loved ones. Nothing can fill that ever. Anyways, I can't see my phone now because I'm looking down and I can't see. So I got to suck them up, right? And healing. Yes, yeah. And that's where I was going. And then I was like, well, you got to say all these other things first. Healing is the most important thing. Because if not, they're going to just continue as they have. They're going to continue over and over and over again because nobody's doing anything. We're not doing the right things. And so that's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, expecting other people to, carry the torch. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to be the one to haul that damn torch everywhere. It might scorch your hair on fire, burn your eyebrows off. I'm just trying to make myself laugh. So anyways, so hey, I know, but I just, mascara is not your friend. you know, I have to wipe it off with some Vaseline. It's pretty quick. Yeah. The gavel of justice. Yeah. Kresha, we have all seen. Oh, thank you. We have already seen you push through to make these losses have a positive thing. I hope so. I hope so. I never was a Debbie Downer. I mean, I have my moments. I think we all do. I like to be positive thinking. I laugh during these things because it's not funny and nothing about it is funny. However, it is freaking uncomfortable and it's weird and it's too close to home. And I've always been one to joke and just try to make people laugh in the most inopportune, awkward ass times because I'm just like, oh yeah, that did. Oh my God, shut up. Always been like that. But it's just to distract. That's kind of how I had to be in my family. And anyways, I'm really glad that y'all can see that. And a lot of times, and I'm not seeking that. And I know that you aren't either. You know what I mean? It's like we do these things just because it's who we are. I don't know. I just, again, I never saw myself coming out of my own little bubble over here, just unaware, no self-awareness whatsoever. Just, okay, if I don't watch the news, then I don't got to deal with it. Well, sometimes it slaps the hell out of you. Sometimes it shakes your entire sometimes it shakes you so hard. And maybe knocks you into your senses. And I don't know. I don't want anybody else to have to learn this way. I know some of you have. And it sucks. And we just want to do right by them and make them proud. That's how I live. That's how I try to confront this, Anyways. Sorry. It feels good to let it out. That was a deep breath you just heard. And much appreciated. They don't happen very often. Anyways, as soon as I can look down or put my phone up here. So what I was digging around for was and it kind of comes to play with Ian Pulowski. I remember KJ saying, and she really wasn't the only one saying this a long time ago, that Ian was the key to this. And now, whether he is or not, I don't know. But that's where I was digging today. And whenever I did, something clicked. And I was just like, hold on. You have to kind of back away. No tunnel vision. You have to kind of back away from all these people. You have to back away from the project. I used to have a instructor when when I became a airplane mechanic apprentice. One of my instructors, that's what he would say: back away from the project, get fresh eyes, go take a break. Come back, you see it new sometimes, you come back and see it with fresh eyes. Well, if you can just back way up and try to take in the long view, try to take in the big picture of this movement. It's just this whole movement. It's never been just Chad and Lori. And through time, mostly time, and some people who are just really good at researching or they're awesome as dogged, determined, uh, Pulitzer award-winning journalists who have ethics. They're ethical people and they have integrity. Lynn Packer. You have people like Go L. You have people like Lauren, Hidden True Crime, and Dr. John. You have people really digging into this. You have Megan Connor, Lori's cousin. It's not just by one person. No, this thing is huge, and it's a lot to really wrap one's head around. Much less, I mean, just the case, just Lori and Chad's case is like, what the hell? It's so confusing. So many moving parts, so many people. But when you back out, it becomes even more people. But I seem to do better researching other people's stuff, not my family. It's very close to me, and it can be uncomfortable. So what I've done this whole time is just kind of keep my eye. I didn't know how they connected. I just know and feel that they did and do. I don't think it's still quite made its um I don't think it's quite made its connection for a lot of people, uh, in the grand totality of it. But it will. And I just hope there's not any more victims or anything in their wake. That's all. So the more swift we can do this, the better. And it's not a witch hunt. Um, I don't hunt. There's no such thing as a witch, right? I'm just saying this is not a witch hunt. I can't help how people react. If they have persecution complex, that's on them. All I can control is how I react and how I seek justice through understanding for the victims in my family and of this case. So backing out projection, Lord, or ain't it? Some projection. But anyways, if you back away from the entire thing and just look at the whole thing as a whole, as just this one big movement, because of how the church has responded and or not responded, no response is still a response. It is still an answer. It still tells you something. Not so much directly, but it does. That's how Lynn Packer verifies, or, he'll have an allegation and he'll send it to, let's say, the church, new media, whatever, spokesperson or whatever. And he says, hey, here's the information. Here you go. Would you like to make a statement on this? I always heard no news is good news. That's what I've always heard. So when there's not a rebuttal or a response, that also confirms and or it confirms things, and you can verify information that way. If you don't get a cease and desist, if you um aren't pissing a lot of people off. Usually I find that's when you're doing the most uh you're accomplishing shit is when you start to make people feel uncomfortable. And again, I can't make anybody feel any certain way. That's on them. Just like people can't make me feel any certain way. We have no control over anyone else. And that's just that. We just have control over how we respond. Do we respond? I usually try not to entertain things, because it takes a lot of energy and it stresses me out sometimes, and I'm just not that kind of person. It's just, I'm just like, I veer away. I actually backstroke the hell out of some drama. I can't stand drama. Never been my thing. But in this case, it's drama enough. These people are drama enough. There's enough for centuries, millennia. Okay. Well, back away from the entire project, and so to speak. And what you're going to see is this pattern, history repeating itself. Whatever you want to call it, with their beliefs. And it goes with, oh, I wrote this. I didn't let my GP chat do it. My chat GPT. I let my best friend hear that, and she was like, oh my God. Let me try water instead of Dr. Pepper. Okay. Just loosely, I put, let me start by saying that these are some extremely bizarre religious beliefs, and they're coming from the people in this quote unquote Mormon movement. We know that. One of the core beliefs that we hear time after time in this group of like-minded individuals is the belief that one has to, quote, push the spirit out of one's body, unquote. And this goes back to Chad's alleged NDEs, his near-death experiences, allegedly, where he said that he heard an audible pop when he dove off of that cliff in, I think it's La Jolla Cove, California. And we can speculate. We don't know. That I want to see papers. That's been my response is, they're either people like Chad and other people copying off other people who've actually experienced near-death experiences. I believe that they do happen. I believe that people do experience I'm not here to question anyone's experience except for those at the forefront. And so if it did happen, let's just entertain it. Let's just say that he did have near-death experiences. Okay? We'll never know. So whenever he dove off that cliff and he heard the audible pop whenever he hit the water, he thought he broke his neck. I recall, hearing or reading that. And so could this have been his spirit being pushed out of his body, so to speak? I mean, just hear me out. Okay. Pooped. Yeah. They're over there in the Pacific. His brain cells are gone. So are mine at this point. Anyways, so someone can have their spirit pushed from their body through trauma. Sound familiar? Makes you wonder. So think about all the things that went into play with the victims leading up to their deaths, their murders, their deaths, their horrific deaths. Um, you've got, I didn't really go past that, but you've got Tylee and possibly JJ, who possibly Jason has always thought so. Those Tylee and JJ witnessing Charles being shot. That's traumatic. That's traumatic. Nobody ever even talked to JJ. I mean, he's a talker too, and no telling what would have came out of his mouth. It would have been at least nice if the police in Chandler would have at least done that, and gunpowder residue swabs would have been great also. Okay, traumatizing nonetheless, right? Then you have Tylee. Soon as, I mean, her phone is stripped away, her money, her independence. Pretty much, her mom made her drive her Jeep all the way to Texas, even during that, during this whole separation from my Uncle Charles. Tylee bragged about it in her whenever they arrived on the scene, she and Lori, after my Uncle Charles had been killed. And I mean, she was uncomfortable. I mean, there's other times when I've seen her on video, like in the Netflix with Colby, where they're singing Mr. Sandman, and she's sitting and she's like this, she's like sitting in the back. Ashland does it too. I don't know. I'm like, stop, you're gonna have arthritis. Anyways, well, I mean, but it's also stress. It could be anxiety. I have anxiety horribly. I've had it since I was 15, and I can relate. I just don't pop everything. That's all. I used to gnaw my fingernails to the nubs. um. Anyways, so just put a pin in these things, okay? Just pin all these things. Just give it a thought. Give it some thought. Then you have, this move, leaving everything that these children knew and loved and depended on for stability. Charles was gone. Tylee had been called a zombie. Her mom called her a zombie. Not a bit of telling what Lori was telling JJ, since, I mean, she had 50 different freaking stories of how my uncle died, except for the truth. Heart attack. He offed himself. He unalived himself. What was she telling JJ? I mean, she was kind of resentful. She was kind of in a pissy mood. She was on a mission. No doubt. Well, then you have, so the move, brand new. There's your weird Uncle Alex, but whatever. And then, JJ's dog, his medication, his school stripped. And I mean, I never really looked at it this way. And I mean, maybe y'all have, and I'm just late as usual. But just hear me out. So then they go to Yellowstone. Okay. Tylee's like, my mom is hanging out with the weirdest mother effers, I'm sure. If not, I'm saying it. I doubt she said it, but I'll say it. What we're all thinking. You got Melanie Gibb hanging around. You've got Zalema somewhat. To what degree, it's on them because they're not very forthcoming. That is for sure. That's Captain Obvious. There's no Captain Moroni, but there is a Captain Obvious for sure. Just uprooting everything and I mean, moving from, and I'm just going to say it because of the lifestyle, moving from a nice nice homes usually, and moving into an apartment. That's a big change for a lot of people, could be. People you don't know. The only thing that is familiar would, I just thought of this would be the church, your temple, where you go and that's your beliefs, that's your community. Mormons tend to rally around one another. They have wonderful communities set up, and again, I think that could be a blessing and a curse. Hey, US Kiwi. Yeah, she never got the life insurance. Okay, then, and I think, yeah, Tylee was even working a job and stuff in Arizona. I don't know where though, but anyway, so I mean, you just gotta kind of just think of all these things. She went to, like, even before they moved to Rexburg, she went to the police station with Melanie Gibb and her mom, and she had to quieten her mom down a couple times because her mom's a freaking drama queen, and she's just mad because she can't do this. I'm just saying, everybody get your lipstick out, your lip gloss, because that's all Lori was worried about. That and retrieving her stupid friends, her friends, Jason Mao. She was name dropping, as they all do. Jason Mao, Thor. She didn't say Chad though, did she? Now that I think about it, I never thought about it. Okay. Melanie Gibb was basically, she was Team Lori for sure, because she didn't give any validity. She made it she did her own character assassination smear campaign of my uncle by saying, yeah, he creeped me out. It just, I've never trusted that woman. I don't, she don't need to be around kids, my opinion. So there's the hiding of Uncle Charles's truck. There's the trauma that's associated with the stress that Lori put him through. Lori and her peeps and stuff, even some of her family members. There is just this level of fear, trauma. You just, all this stuff. It's brand new. It's so brand new. And you're just like, what the hell is going on? My wife is losing her freaking marbles. I need help. Nobody's listening to me. I'm pretending I'm Charles. I'm telling them what she's telling me, and they look at me like I'm freaking insane. Bullshit, which is some bullshit, right? So, and it's disheartening, but it bought Lori time. She worked her jelly like she's always done. It sure was nice to see her get jostled around a great deal more than I ever have throughout this entire process. She's been treated with kid gloves just like the rest of them. And whenever they booked her into Arizona, I don't even know what, Estrella or whatever. I don't even know. I don't even too much care. As long as she's just, it was just beautiful that they showed us that. Thank you. Thank you, Maricopa County. But anyway, so they moved to Rexburg. Brand new. Within a week, they go to Yellowstone. It's not going to be very detailed, but they go to Yellowstone. The last picture we have of Tylee and JJ together. Let me see if I have one uploaded. I've been having to switch them out. Let's see. No, I just have one with all of them. Anyway, so I'll put this one instead. So you have these babies, and all they have is each other. Really, they're clinging on to to each other. That's all that they've ever been able to do. So anyway, so they go to Yellowstone. They're smiling in their last picture together, but are they happy? Is there some worry? Or are they holding on to each other because that's all they've got? They are all that they have is each other. Time after time, throughout their lives, when JJ came into the picture, Tylee took to him, he took to her, and that's a wrap. That's just the rest is history. Here we go. I have a video that'll. Oh, I gotta move that. Well, actually, it's a background. Damn it! I really jacked some stuff up. It's behind me. I'll do this. Oh, it didn't move me. But anyways, so they have each other, and okay, so they go to Yellowstone. They, we don't know what happened from there. I don't know what happened there. I have no idea. No idea. I always thought for a long time that something happened in Yellowstone. Did it? Did it not? How do we know? Because there's not many pings. There's not much information, surprisingly, surrounding their actual deaths. We don't even know what day they died on. Okay, that is so disturbing to me. That we don't even know what Tylee died of. We can assume, we have to make some scientific and logical guesses, but nothing, no proof. It's just horrible. So, I mean, I don't know if they came back with Tylee or not. I don't know if JJ had to witness his sister being murdered, is what I'm saying. I don't know. There's nobody just saying, hey, yeah, JJ was there or not. Or was he sleeping? What did he know? Either way, he was traumatized after that because his sister was gone. His dad was gone. His dog was gone. His grandparents were gone. His other grandparents, his whole family. Braxy was Brandon Boudreaux and Melanie Pulowski's one of their sons. And Braxton, he wasn't there. Okay. Your mom's weirding out. You don't know. And you're just coping. You're a kid with autism who your mom dumbs you down a lot. And but that's your mom because she's all that you've ever known. And she's never done this before, not in this degree. I mean, what she did behind closed doors, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But trauma, most certainly trauma. And I mean, so all these things are gone. He's starting a new school. She shoved him in a new school, I guess, to have a babysitter for a few days. Who knows what they saw? Who knows? God knows. I don't know. It's just very disturbing details around all this. And in the meanwhile, mom singing on her Smule account, some weird ass shit to her brother, Bubba Humps, right? Thank you, Dan Cummins. Bubba Humps. Alex Cox's Bubba Humps. And Chatty Doomsday Daddy. That's what he calls Chad. Chatty Doomsday Daddy and Bubba Humps. Anyways, so all right. So we're down to just JJ. There's that picture that I haven't been able to find. Usually these things just they come back and into my photo streams, into my memories, and I'm just like, oh yeah. Well, they must be on my other iPhone, iCloud account. So I'm gonna have to go search them and stuff, just kind of like I did with the documents from Ian Pulowski. Well, so he's on that ride by himself, and you can see it. Like, you can see he's just so, and I'm talking about JJ. And this woman is taking freaking pictures of him. Okay. She took pictures of Tylee and JJ on what was most likely a day or two or within hours of her being murdered. Brutally murdered. And anyways, just a lot of trauma associated with all this. New school, weird man hanging around. Okay. Weird people come and visit, like Audrey, and I don't know. She says she met JJ and Tylee once. I don't believe any of them either. Never have. Well, let me stop my cam again, and I'm gonna go and fetch up those documents, because what I'm getting at, you have Ruby Hildebrandt, you have I'm sorry, well, it might as well be Ruby Hildebrandt, huh? Anyways, Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frankie, who just pled guilty, both of them, and they're going to be sentenced in February of this year, next month. Yay, we'll be there for that. And what were they doing with Ruby Frankie's little children, R and E, with the torture? And then I want you to just think about the things like, trigger warning, allegedly, or no, not allegedly, freaking admitted to pushing that baby girl into cactus, or I'm not going to know it word for word. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't know if she made her jump into a cactus, or if she was pushed into, yeah, either way, Jody's a bitch and she's evil, and her ass is right where she belongs. And it sure as hell ain't purgatory. It needs to be prison, and it will be. And Ruby too. Ruby too. So you've got that going on. But that gave us some insight into what's going on with the Mormon therapist slash, being recommended by the church. And then misdiagnosing people things that aren't even in the DSM-5. They're not even in it. And then collect, like they were paying, let's say the church was recommending, the hypothetical, I'm just going to say it so I don't get sued, hypothetically, allegedly, referring its own members. A couple goes in, and the husband's like, oh my God, I pull on my chicken, and maybe it's too much, and then they send the couple to a Mormon approved therapist within their little clique, like Jody Hildebrandt, like David Hamblin. David Hamblin has a few alleged victims underneath his Mormon therapy belt. And one of those, y'all can Google him. They've got videos out of him. His name is Brett Bluth. And so that's the David Hamblin case. He's a Mormon therapist. There's other Mormon therapists within the victim statements of the Hamblin sisters or daughters, Hamblin daughters. And anyways, it's super interesting, I would say, because whenever you read and follow the case of David Hamblin, let me show you David Hamblin. He's a real peach, let me tell you. This would be David Hamblin. And this is through investigations in ritual abuse. He's currently focused on the David Lee Hamblin satanic ritual abuse case in Provo, Utah. I put down here, the reality of ritual abuse is that it is all too often dismissed by police and law enforcement. I'm going to say, and the public at large. Okay. At the allegation stage. But the deeper issue is that survivors often have little, if any, idea of what an effective reporting process looks like, much less being believed. That's the first hurdle. Or just, first of all, coming to terms, did it happen? Did it not happen? What's happening is it causes, like, what David Hamblin has studied, from what I understand of it, what David Hamblin has been his goal, what he's been doing, he calls it his parts theory. Okay. Parts theory. And it's where the goal is to to traumatize victims through, I don't know, maybe alleged sex abuse. Seems to be the gateway here. I can't find the thing to take it off. Oh, it's my background. That's why. Hold on. I'm trying to be swift back here, and I'm not. And Donna don't know what I'm doing. So let's see. Okay. Oh, now I got to turn that on. Here. while we're here, you have this whole network, okay? And guess what? There's a lot of therapy related things in here, and people and nonprofits, alleged nonprofits, claiming to do things like connections right here. You have Ruby Frankie. Actually, you have, it's not in the picture, but you have, let me see if I have it. Hold on. Let me see if I have it over here. No, I took it down. I'm having to switch out my pictures so much. It sucks. Oh, I do. Yay. Go me. This is courtesy of, or credit to Chino Blanco on the subreddit. Okay. This is the Ballard verse. And so if you look at the top right corner, you see Chad Daybell, you see Lori Vallow, you see Julie Rowe. Yet you don't see anything coming or anything branching off of Julie Rowe. I want you to just take note of that. That was very compelling for me to see, because Julie gets blamed for everything. She just does. She's a scapegoat, which is bullshit. I mean, I don't agree with her, but I don't agree with just blaming all my problems on her. Yeah, that's kind of like what's happening. I'm just saying my problems. No, I don't blame my problems on her. I'm just saying people do. Instead of being held accountable for them, they blame them on Julie Rowe. She's the scapegoat. And so you have Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and you have, I can't read that over there, but it's Visions of Glory. That's a connector. Okay. And then that trails down to the yellow kind of, I don't know, Tom Harrison, aka Spencer. He's Visions of Glory author / inspiration. Okay. Then you have Jody Hildebrandt, who's connected to Tom Harrison. Not only Tom Harrison, though. She has Jody Hildebrandt had connections, and that's where she connected basically with Ruby Frankie. I'm sure the church referred the children, or at least their oldest son, maybe Chad, to seek therapy, maybe with Judy Hildebrandt. I'm just assuming. I don't know. I haven't read that. I haven't been able to dig way down into that case. But okay, Mormon therapist is what I'm saying. What I'm getting at. That's the moral of the story here. Tom Harrison, he's no longer a practicing Mormon therapist, but trust me, he's revered and sought after, or he was, I mean, he's got connections and with a lot of the high, people in the higher ups, people in the upper echelons of this church. Okay. Business. It's all business. Trust me. Well, then he founded, Tom Harrison, okay, founded Eternal Core. And guess who heads that up? We have, I don't see him, Ken Krogh, wherever he is. Oh, okay, there he is. Let's see, there's Eternal Core in the yellow, then below that is Tim Ballard, and then a little to the left is Ken Krogh and another blue sticky note. And you have let's see, I can't read that bottom name. You have Spear Fun, Ken Krogh. It's another psychological or psychology therapy. It's all therapy. Okay, so they founded, Ken Krogh and Tom Harrison founded Eternal Core. Well, Ken Krogh also founded the Spear Fund with Tim Ballard. I know, it gets confusing. You have Ken Krogh is tied to Brad Brower, which was M. Russell Ballard, Elder M. Russell Ballard, the late M. Russell Ballard now, because he died in November of 2023. Brad Brower was his son-in-law, and he was basically a partner in slave stealers. And I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Why did I mean, I'm just going blank right now, but they're all tied together. Just know that. Just follow the chart. Then we're gonna go over here. Oh, we're I'm sorry, slave stealers is where um M. Russell Ballard was alleged to have been one of 3 apostles that bought in and, basically silent partners in a for-profit business company making money off of nonprofits, such as we've got the Operation Underground Railroad, the Spear Fund. We had Children Need oh my God, where's it at? Children Need Liberating or whatever by Paul Hutchinson. Okay. Sean Reyes also has a sex trafficking or anti-sex trafficking lava nonprofit organization. You have Sound of Freedom here that was like the movement, right? And then it's the sizzle. It's part of the sizzle for sure. Um, then you have Child Liberation Foundation. Yeah, that's Paul Hutchinson, who owns Safe Haven Vaults, and other businesses and everything. Okay, then you have Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard's connected to all of these. All of these. Tom Harrison. He's spoken at some of the Tom Harrison. He was actually spoke with Jody Hildebrand and Tom Harrison and Ken Krogh and just all these people. And he's speaking at Eternal Core events in 2019. I mean, as for sure, 2019. Then you have Glenn Beck and you have David Barton, the Nazarene Fund. You have the Mercury One. What you have is some, in my opinion, fraud, and it's all on the backs of, or it's all under the guise of all these great and wonderful movements and alleged movements, I'll say, but they aren't exactly doing what they say that they're doing, in my opinion. Tim Ballard names Tom Harrison in a video he was talking to a crowd. Tim Ballard was. I have it under my channel list, and he says something, and it's so freaking odd. It rubbed me wrong. And so follow me on this. I know I'm taking a really long. I had to take one of my nerve pills before I came on, so I'm a little like rare. But I'm just being honest with you. Tom Harrison. Difficult research. And they shared it on Mormon Stories podcast too. Okay, I got it. All right, let me put it on pause so I can share my screen real quick. Okay, present. Okay. All right. So it's going to be hard to kind of hear, but let me go ahead and turn on the subtitles.
Served times that others served me, and all of a sudden, as I just thought about those moments, and
just listen to the message, okay? Just listen to what he is saying.
Times that I served, times that others served me, and all of a sudden, as I just thought about those moments in my life, I was filled with something that I recognized. It was the same thing I recognized when I had gotten off on the freeway, off the off-ramp, to go visit this little boy. I felt optimism. I mean, I was in tears. I was just like floating. I felt like I wanted to go run a marathon from his house. I was like, what is this? I felt optimism. I felt courage, unity, these amazing things. I said, what is this? He says, Tim, it's a chemical reaction. It's a chemical. When you give, when you serve, your brain actually releases these amazing chemicals: oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, and it's what. And if you're a spiritual person like he is, he says these are the chemicals God puts in your body that opens up the heavens, that helps you to get past the physical and into the spiritual. But whether you believe that or not, the reaction, the fruit of this is real. So I wanted to do my own research on it, and I found a brain specialist, one of the people that helps us heal the brain of the children who have been traumatized. His name's Tom Harrison.
Okay. That right there, it caught me, and I was like, he just said Tom Harrison. And this was before It's before Chad and Lori. Okay. This talk he was given. And I was like, oh, hell. Okay. Because I've been having to do Chad and Lori stuff. And I've been side-eyeing this mofo for a while. Since 2020. Since the whole thing came out with the Fox 13 had done a report. And then that's how I learned about the David Hamblin case too. And through some of you guys. But just listen to what he is saying. And I know that they are projectors. I know, and a lot of you have seen that they project the very thing that they may be doing. In my opinion, allegedly, I don't know. Oh, I gotta push.
And this is what he says, his research. The research is conclusive. Through ongoing acts of service, charity, thoughts of kindness, and gratitude, the brain releases a powerful cocktail of chemicals, which include oxytocin, endorphins, dopamine, and others. These chemicals, in turn, produce in the recipient positive benefits, which produce higher levels of achievement, increased creativity, positivity, optimism, and unity. Why are these fruits so important? Because you can't teach these things. In your home, to your children, in your businesses, to your employees. Can you go to your employee and say, all right, be creative? I mean, you can say it. Be optimistic. Be a unifier. Be a team unity. You can say it all day long. But how do I do it? How do I be creative? How do I just do this? You do it by creating the environment in which service is prominent, is paramount. You encourage your people, your family, to serve others. This is why Tony Robbins is always saying the secret to living is giving. That's his life mantra. And that's why he gives so much, because he'll tell you, I receive way more than I give. I get all these amazing fruits. And as I learned this principle, I began to apply it more in my operations. Let me give you an example of an operation where this principle worked for me. It was one of the very first operations we did at OUR. What had happened was I had done a training as a government agent in Bogota, Colombia, trained a bunch of Colombian agents on how to infiltrate child trafficking rings. And I was tired of the training that I'd been doing, the same check the box training that I'd done so many times. I don't think anyone was listening. And so when the State Department minder left the room, I shut down the laptop and I said, we're not doing the training that I was supposed to do. We're going to do a real case. We're going to take 3 days and plan an operation and rescue children. So we decided, I asked them, where are the kids being hurt? Where are the kids being trafficked? They said, Cartagena, Colombia. Why? Sad commentary on our country, because that's where the Americans come in on their cruise ships, because the United States is the #1 consumer of child pornography and child sex in the world. So we are the clients. And so as such, they said, Tim, we need you to come undercover. We need you to bring a bunch of American guys who can play the role of the American sex tourist and infiltrate these trafficking rings. I said, yes, let's do it. I was saying.
It's just disturbing. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. Okay. All right. Let me close that window in a minute. Let me close that window in a minute. So right now I'm looking for Janet Russin. It stinks to high heaven to me. They're preying, Preying, in my opinion, on Tylee and JJ. I'm just saying. We know how they ended up. We know how that story ended, and it's got to do with children. Melanie Pulowski was really trying to get her children, 2 of them, for sure. I mean, 2 of them for sure were dark, rated as dark. Tom Harrison is alleged to be rating missionaries, whether they're dark or not. And, he uses allegedly this practice with his own clients. Allegedly. Lauren, Hidden True Crime. It's alarming. It's alarming. It's alarming. It's alarming. You have Maurice Harker, another Mormon therapist. Go look on floodlit.org. You'll see there's no end. It's a big database of these sex offenders, alleged sex offenders, some of them, whatever technicality. And they're all doing the same things. You got Gordon Bowen. He's very triggering to me. I'm looking for the damn video of Janet Russin, the psychic, Tim Ballard's psychic, who was the intel for finding kids that obviously they weren't finding. And if they were finding them, where were they going? Because they were not going to aftercare. What I'm trying to get to is that they're invoking fear. This is my theory. Allegedly. It's my opinion. They are preying on our children. Tammy got shot at 10 days before they actually killed her. Think about that. That's fear, right? That'll make you, have an outer body experience. I don't know where this goes. I don't know their end game. It can be good. I mean, anybody who scares children and turns the pain up and turns pain, who equates pain with love and good, ain't nobody I want my kids around. That's for sure. I just want to get to the bottom of this problem. And it's a problem. It's a problem, all right. All right, I found it. Let me
To be there.
And you chose to be there. Didn't they all want to go back? Like
Yes.
every one of them?
sorry.
When it was all
Yes.
said and done and over. And then when
Yes.
they finally realized they weren't going to be able to be Tim's fake girlfriend anymore.
They gaslight like a mofo. Sorry. Come on. We got time for this.
I
Money,
don't know,
money,
but
money, money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
learning that it's a big temptation.
The backwards thinking is real.
So each of these individuals is asking for 5 million each. So that's 5 times 6 is 30 million. I'm going to give you some comparative numbers. I hope these really
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. She's talking about Tim, the women that are suing her and Tim.
about 2,000, depending on the operation. Correct?
Oh, I'm sorry. God dang it, I didn't mean to do that.
And the expenses and the type of operation it is, but it's about 2,000. So if you were to divide 30 million, now I know all of that's wouldn't go to the women. I'm not saying they're going to get that money.
She's spending their money
but
for
that's what they're asking for. And of course, attorneys take some of it. But that 30 million, we're just taking that figure that they've demanded. And we're dividing that
They're gaslighting right here.
by 2,000. That's 15,000 children. 15,000 children could be rescued with $30 million. And guess where that money's coming from?
Fuck
Or
her.
would come from? OUR. So donors like myself who've donated, believing, of course.
So then why is she pulling in a $250,000 income per year? I'm asking for the public.
Believing rightfully, correctly, that money is going to go to rescues. These women are demanding to have that money in their pockets as compensation for the wrongs that have been done to them. But who are the victims here? And this is probably
The alleged wrongs that have been done to them, right?
the biggest point that I want to make. Who are the victims? Who loses in this situation?
Who
They're
wins?
punishing Tim, they're punishing OUR, but they are punishing these children.
I want to see your bank account.
15,000 children is over double the amount of children that have been rescued that OUR has accounted for in 10 years.
No, they have not.
And in a day, from one day to the next, that money is asked for. I hope that because these women stated in their litigation, in these lawsuits, that they stated, and they stated in the press conference more accurately, that they just wanted to rescue children. I hope that every penny that they get, those who settle or who have settled, and those who are in this litigation, and maybe they'll reconsider and they'll just settle. But I hope whatever amount of money they receive.
Well, I mean, wouldn't he want to? Well, I guess there's no proving of your innocence. I'm just saying the judge can make that decision whether they have a leg to stand on versus Tim. So it's like they're looking forward to paying it out because they know better. They know what happened. They know those accusations aren't just accusations.
They put that money towards aftercare, rescue, reconnaissance, education, etc.
Aftercare? Who? Tom Harrison? Who don't even have a damn license? So what is he doing? He's a brain specialist, allegedly, quote unquote brain specialist. Bullshit.
Benefit children, adoption of children who are in vulnerable countries that are prone to trafficking. Because they'll never be made whole. Whatever offenses they feel have been done to them.
So what she is saying right here, they'll never be made whole for whatever offenses they feel have been done to them. She will never feel whole. Okay? Because that's what's hurting her is all the attention from the allegations from these women coming forward is putting a hurting on her pocket. But they will find a way.
Whatever brokenness or feelings of, in their interpretation, abuse that they feel, that money is never going to make them feel whole.
You either, sister.
Not at
Humble
all.
yourself.
And you look at their faces
Go get you some more
when they're
Botox.
up there. They're conflicted.
And this dude right here, y'all, he's done had Rod Meldrum on quite a few times. He's had, recent. He's had Jonathan Neville, which is he was named in the very beginning, as being part of Chad's movement or whatever.
Their minds and in their hearts. I could see it.
And he's about to
feel
deem
it.
people dark.
They know they're not doing the right.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I hope others see it too. And
We see it.
And I hope people speak out about it. If their gut feeling is that this is not right, then they're right. It's not right.
It ain't.
And I want to break this down too. So 15,000 children could be rescued.
Diversion.
Even if it was 10,000 children. And that would also translate, that $30 million would also.
It would translate to sizzle in your words. And from what I've learned.
Translate to between 1,500 and 3,000 adoption grants. So the program that the special project that Catherine initiated.
That's never even become an official nonprofit organization where they are the middleman and help accommodate people in adopting children. They're the middleman. Okay? That's what they're posing as, in my opinion.
And that I was the executive director for over
$250,000
and then I
a year in your
switched to
pocket.
strategic alliances, and then there was another executive over
Just
Children
from
Need
that one.
Families. But that special project, Children Need Families, gives grants to families in the adoption process who are adopting from countries where children are vulnerable to trafficking, not trafficked children who are rescued, but children who are vulnerable to trafficking and who are already in the adoption process. And then we give a grant.
Sounds like a freaking scam.
Grant to them that would fund up to 3,000 adoptions. And that's not going to happen because that money, if they get what they're asking, that money would go elsewhere. So I hope and pray that there's a better resolution, a better solution than this exorbitant and unfair demand for money, because it's not restitution money. It's not going to comfort them.
Or you.
And like I said, it's not going to make them whole. It's not going to make them happy.
She's all.
Well, I don't think it was their idea, but they're going with it. It may not be their complete idea. I think they were gathered. I think they were brought together for a greater effort. You and I believe that there is a bigger effort to undermine Tim.
Yeah, whole
I know
conspiracy.
that Tim knows there's a bigger effort to undermine him, and not just him. A lot of people think he's the only one being sued.
He's the only one that politicized the damn thing.
But they know now they used to, but there's innocent people involved in this.
Yeah.
Well, Tim's innocent. They're all innocent.
Oh,
You're one.
he don't even know.
Now, Catherine?
They're using him to do this, to gaslight people.
Fear. OUR. Everybody.
Matt Cooper.
Cooper.
The board. Other entities, other individuals.
Just let's go after it all. Let's get the much money as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is big, huge.
Yeah, you're doing it well. You're doing it well, and he don't even know what he's doing. I do a lot of screen recording. This was here. You got to see this.
It's a big stretch, and they're trying to connect. They're trying to make things like the Daybells or other oddities stick. They're trying to make it stick to this, and then
Right.
the two have no association. I do.
Tylee, oh God dang it! I keep pressing
It's a
K.
big stretch, and they're trying to connect. They're trying to make things like the Daybells or other oddities stick. They're trying to make it stick to this, and
Right.
the two have no association. I do want to say that Tom Harrison is a good friend and a dear person.
Is he? Do you see how pissed off this makes me? I mean, just as a family member of the victims who have never been acknowledged throughout this entire thing, where they keep putting people and men and institutions and money over human life, and it just, oh my God,
And we love him,
so good.
and support him.
Look,
And he
he's
wrote a
hiding.
beautiful book, Visions of Glory.
I don't think so.
And whether we agree with that book or not, or read it, haven't read it, Tim's and Janet's religious beliefs, or there are many different kinds of Latter-day Saints in the church. But what I mean is, we don't all believe perfectly theologically together. That doesn't mean we don't
No
answer the
shit,
temple
Sherlock.
recommend questions correctly altogether, because most of us do. You go to the temple.
He was having mic problems.
But some of us have like interests and near-death experiences more than others.
You mean you're different? Like everybody? Everybody's freaking an individual? Oh, okay.
That's not something that they would read, but
Yeah.
Visions of Glory isn't like a horrible book.
No.
I'm not saying the book did it. I'm saying the people behind the book are some shitty people. That's what I'm saying. Shady characters who feel the need. They feel like Tom Harrison, persecution complex. He's a freaking lifelong freaking therapist, okay? That the church has leaned on before, okay? Who is going to Thanksgiving Point with Ken Krogh and Tim Ballard and Hugh Vale with Sherston Stockwell in her report that came out in the lawsuits or whatever, where they go there, and because she had special experiences that she shared with Tim, he felt that he could open up and tell her that they have special knowledge about the second coming, okay, and that they're visionaries and dreamers. And I would love to know what they are ingesting to have all these visions and all these freaking weird things that came out, like in the Beck News article for Blaze Media, his Blaze Media company. This big old write-up on Janet Russin, the psychic, right? And I think that they're all a team, and it's a team effort. Okay. They have a goal, and that goal is to usher in the second coming, I do believe. But it's just not the second coming that I think it is, or that most of us think. Whenever we hear second coming, we're like, oh hell, doom and gloom and Armageddon and the end of the world as we know it. But there's something more agenda, and I sound like them now, right? But it's like it's going for the greater good for sure, or their greater good, whatever that is to them. Tim, I do have pictures of him in the CIA. I do have pictures of him, but not under the guise that he has purported. It's different. And it's like, he's a board member on the Afghanistan World Organization. It's a whole freaking world organization. It's big. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of him. Besides, I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him, and I don't trust any of the of these people, because they're using, just like I see the church. Maybe I know many of you won't agree. If you are a member of the church, I'm probably about to hurt your feelings, and it's not intentional. But what I see is the church, they are the middleman and play the middleman, and they're exalting people via these second anointings. Whether Chad and Lori had one, I'll never know. And I mean, I doubt it too sometimes. But then sometimes I'm like, you know what? There are no rules. The only rule is, about the Fight Club is you don't talk about the Fight Club. Same thing goes for the second anointing. You don't talk about it. You take a blood oath, and you see how far that goes. If this is the case, if they did have a second anointing, you can read about it in James and Elena's story by Chad. There is, Ballard and Renland, two general authorities, were named as zombies in the infamous Reddit email. How did that come to be? There's just a lot of sketchy shit going on, and it's a lot of Mormon code, and I'm not dumb. I'm having to learn the language and learn the culture so I can figure out what the hell they're saying and what they're doing, because it is code. And it throws a lot of people off, especially when they say, they're ushering in the second coming of Jesus Christ. Maybe they are. Maybe it's just not our definition or our perspective or understanding of what the second coming means. They change a lot of other words and definitions of a lot of things. But I do believe it is the second coming. It's just maybe one that, we're all of us are not really, a lot of us are gonna get blindsided by it. I really don't know. That's the best I've got.
But go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say to what you're saying, some have had a near-death experience. My son had a near-death experience.
Now listen how she memorializes her son. But I'll be damned if we put my family in there. Tammy, Joe, Brandon.
You touched on my son before. You didn't say my son, but our death in the family that you referred to is my son, my beautiful, beautiful boy, Michael, who passed away at 18. And
Why?
he had
How?
a near-death experience
How?
the night before his 18th birthday, and then he passed. That was in February. In
He
February,
had blonde hair and blue
and then
eyes.
he passed in April. So, people have near-death experiences, and so then they're more attracted to those, just like you're saying, or they are interested in family history. It's like anything that someone has a particular interest in or attraction to.
Right.
It's wrong.
Right. Exactly. And you've got people like John Dehlin making these weird connections. You have Radio Free Mormons.
not
Some of you don't
weird.
know who these people are. That's the name of the podcast.
Okay.
They talk about you guys
By the time you
endlessly.
get something right.
They connect you with the Frankie, Ruby Frank.
Oh, wait a minute. I know who you mean. Down in southern Utah, the mom.
Yeah, the Frankie case. I don't know if it's Frankie or Frank.
Yeah.
And the Hildebrandt. The name of this couple that does the hidden true crime, Lauren Matthias and Dr. John Matthias.
Woo!
All these substantiated connections.
He just
that are
said
ridiculous.
substantiated
Like, you don't even
connections,
know these people.
not unsaid.
Dr. John Matthias. Make all these substantiated connections that are ridiculous.
Dumbass.
Like, you don't even know these people. And they're just, I don't know. That's like, let's just group anybody together because they're Latter-day Saints. Or more importantly, for those of you who have followed a lot of this and know who these people are, these other podcasters,
Here, I'll show you.
what they do is they connect this Visions of Glory book.
Yeah,
And because
there you go.
Jody Hildebrandt and Chad Daybell read the book, know of it, like it, and even spoke at some of the same conferences that Tim had. Tim even mentioned his good friendship with one or a couple of them
Well, there you go.
before they went and killed people and did some horrible things in the name of weirdness. Now, I know personally some people that have read Tom Harrison's book. I haven't read it. I have no desire to read it. And I don't particularly think
High
that
five on
it
that
has
one.
anything to do with my salvation. And I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I guarantee you that most people don't know of that book who are active members of the church and don't go to a lot of these conferences. Now, I do believe wholeheartedly in the freedom to believe in what you want as long as you don't hurt other people.
Amen,
Now,
brother. They did.
I honestly know, and Janet knows, that they don't associate with people
Oh yeah.
that hurt children and other people like some of these people did. They don't believe in starving your children, like Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frank did. And I don't even know much about the stories, but I'm telling you,
I'm gonna speak to
you
it
can't
anyways.
connect the causation and correlation principle because somebody knew somebody at a conference and maybe were friends with them before they committed heinous crimes
There
and
you
went
go.
crazy. So that's how the Matthiases, that's how John DeLynn, and that's how these other podcasters, such as this Jordan and McKay couple, who looked so happy when they had the light of Christ and the Holy Ghost. I look at a lot of these people.
Didn't they?
Now, I don't agree. I can be friends with people and not agree with their religious beliefs or
What?
some of them.
You can?
Even some members of the church have what I call religious
Oh.
hobbies. I don't believe in them. But they're
Well,
good people. All right. I don't go there. I have different ideas about what the gospel of Jesus Christ means.
ignorant.
And most of what I believe is mainstream. And I mean mainstream in the sense of what I
lied.
think is what the brethren want me to do.
You heard that? What the brethren
On a
want
couple of
me
my
to do.
podcasts, I mentioned a reporter named Adam Herbett.
Here, this
He
one's
is with
better. Here's your
Adam
last one.
Herbett is with Fox 13 News, and he has a vendetta, obviously a vendetta against him and yourself and everyone that's involved in the lawsuit. Want to explain what you had to say about that, about him?
Sure. So his latest Fox 13 piece, he shared a timeline, and I can address a few of those points. I'm not going to address all the points on the timeline.
If only they knew that it was Gordon Bowen that wrote the Vice article that publicly, quote unquote, kneecapped Tim Ballard. But the church backed it. So there's that.
Fine, but I'll address the ones pertaining to this situation because he's talking about Sean Reyes, who, by the way, I just want to say is a lovely person, and he was a great supporter of OUR and went on some operations
Well, it
and
was
just a good man. So
so great. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's over. Okay. All right. Anyways, yeah. That's the main ones. But I mean, these are the people that are part of these. You got Senator Michael Lee. He's involved. Him and Glenn Beck right there. Look up here in this. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I'm sure you can. But there's Glenn Beck, his wife, and Russell M. Ballard. Oh my God! Wow. And Glenn Beck, and it's their son. Then you got Tammy. You got what's his name? Oh my God. Craig Ballard right here. This is M. Russell Ballard's son, who is part of all these things. He was, yeah, he's right there in the honeypot too. You got Glenn Beck, you got Hugh Vale, and Liberty 89. You got John Moreland. There's Brad Brower. Oh, I mean, that's related to the apostle. Oh, I got a lot of pictures. Here you go. Here's the board of directors, AfghanistanWorldFoundation.org with Henry or whatever his name, Kissinger, the one that just died. Then you got Brad Brower. Here's another one in that AfghanistanWorldFoundation.org, and that's Senator John Kyle or whatever the hell his name is. You got Todd Tueller and the Spear Fund. There's Ken Krogh, right? And all this to bring people to the American Covenant. Okay. No, thank you. And I don't know what your American Covenant is. Just like here is Elder Ballard with the Pope. Just like all the rest of the brethren. You got Janet Russin right here. You've got David Barton right here. He's an evangelical who purports the same kind of twisted history. And that he's just got some really twisted views. I did a whole voiceover last night. I mean, beginning to end, and all I had to do was edit it, but there was no sound. I was like, what the hell? Oh my God. It's a constant battle and struggle to get this stuff out. Here's Jessica Mass, Jody Hildebrandt, Tom Harrison, and Ken Krogh. Okay. Whoa, that's blurry. Here's Brett Bluth. He's an alleged victim of, the church referred him to David Hamblin. David Hamblin. How do I put this? Allegations from Brett Bluth saying that, he was homosexual and he wanted to be cured. And the Mormon church recommended him to David Hamblin. He was a child. And David Hamblin basically said that he would have to, and it reminds me of James and Elena's story, okay, of righteousness from a man, from a quote unquote righteous man. Basically the seed of David Hamblin's righteousness would cure Brett Bluth of his homosexuality. Okay. That is so bad. Not for him. That's bad for what happened to him, allegedly by David Hamblin. If we could ever get his ass in front of a judge, Okay. David Barton. Oh, that's just
The Nazarene Fund.
Okay, yeah. Okay, these are some that I still have to go and edit. I really suck when it comes down to it. And here's Rod Meldrum. He's got a distorted view on the Book of Mormon. Okay. He's a Heartlander. Oh, the Ballard verse. Let's see. Oh, these are just associations. Ken Krogh. Hori Lori. The zombie killers. Boy, if that ain't ever. Okay, let me show you this one thing and then we'll end. I'm sorry. I know I kind of went off the rails, but kind of started out that way. So I apologize for that, but let's listen to this. This is Jim Caviezel, and his QAnon is a far-right American political conspiracy theory and political movement, which originated in 2017. QAnon centers on fabricated claims made by an anonymous individual or individuals known as Q. I guess kind of like anonymous. Anyways, those claims have been relayed and developed by online communities and influencers. So again, whatever they're projecting or claiming, in my opinion, is what they are actually doing. Think of Tim's enthusiasm about endorphins.
QAnon conspiracy theorists have a new backer, a man who once played Jesus. Actor Jim Caviezel pushing QAnon theories that can only be described as flat out crazy. Donnie O'Sullivan is joining us now. What is he saying, Donnie?
Hey, Brianna. Yeah, crazy certainly is the word for it. And what we've seen here really is that even with Trump out of the White House, conspiracy theories are continuing to grip the United States. Have a listen.
The adrenochroming of children, look, where we're at right now. Hopefully, we need your prayers.
He may have played the role of Jesus Christ in Mel Gibson's 2004 movie, The Passion of the Christ, but now it seems actor Jim Caviezel is preaching a different kind of gospel, echoing the gospel of QAnon while speaking to a right-wing convention over the weekend.
You said adrenochrome.
Essentially, you have adrenaline in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete this adrenaline.
Followers of QAnon are obsessed with the idea, without having any evidence, that Hollywood celebrities and other famous people torture children to extract adrenochrome, some believe to use in satanic rituals.
It is bizarre and baseless, but it's the same kind of conspiracy theory that children are in imminent danger that in 2016 led a gunman to a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. that was the target of false online claims about child torture.
The fact that you guys are attacking us and making us look like we're crazy when we're just trying to save some fucking children, pisses me off.
And the conspiracy
It's
theories
just to divide
continue
us.
to
Is what
spread.
it is.
In October, QAnon believers marched in Hollywood, repeating baseless
Yeah.
claims. What's going on with Tom Hanks?
So you guys just want me to explain everything today, huh? Dude, it's all suspicion. That's suspicition.
How do you know that Tom Hanks is?
How do you not know? You're
Proving it
reporting a
negative.
How do you know it's not the government? I'm
You're
just
saying
saying.
it's the fact that they're not.
But neither do you.
We're in an impasse then, because we're reporting literally the same thing.
But neither do you. But you have him on your sign. You're calling him a pedophile.
Yes.
But you don't know that for.
How did they get to that position of power?
And we should mention we have reached out to Caviezel for comment. Look, why does this all matter, guys? Well, you can see it there. People are showing up on the street about this thing. You saw.
But then, you know, I gotta say, I gotta call it. Y'all know I'm not political, but I'm just saying. But he showed up, and you know, with a. I'm just saying, it's kind of like provoking in a big way, and I see this as. It is what it is. Whatever is happening, and we don't know about it. I just know from this group of people that they do gaslight, and they pretty much are projectors. Whatever they're blaming you for doing or others for doing, like if you're not with them, you're against them. That whole method of whatever of their mission, whatever the hell their mission is. I want to know who's assigning their missions and politicizing these things. When I mean, it reminds me of the narcissistic parent playing their children against one another, and that's kind of what this has looked like to me as somebody who's I don't give a shit who runs the country. I mean, I don't want to sit there and pick the lesser of two evils. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. So I usually just don't even butt in at all. Because I mean, I don't really know. But just from, you know, kind of observing it, I guess, throughout this entire experience that's what I see. It's just this polarization, this dividing of us, of people. It's the narcissistic parent turning each other, you know, turning us against each other when really we're in for a rude awakening, in my opinion. If this is really what I think this is, this whole whatever second coming idea, bringing people to the covenant, what's their end game? What is the sizzle? Why are they so hyped up about adrenochrome and saving children when they can't even save themselves? It seems, you know, like my mom always used to say, sweep around your porch. And I mean, because, you know, these women have come forward against him with their allegations of how these things have transpired, how they experienced, quote unquote, saving children. And Tim allegedly saying, what would you do to save a child? And then you've got Gaslighter McGee over there, Janet Russin, and the guy they're using in order to get their message out, allegedly, and twist things even more, confuse people, because that's what they're all about. They're all about the drama. They're all about the mess. They're not about the victims. They're not about any victims. I haven't seen any proof. I haven't seen any. I know I'm not going to see their faces, but some kind of transparent. There are anti-sex trafficking agencies who actually do these things, and they show their receipts, so to speak. They're not just going unchecked and just off the rails doing whatever the hell they want to do. They're really good at raising money, I'll tell you that. And anyways, it just is really gross what this has come down to. So what if this is happening? What if? Is that, I just thought about this. Is that the whole, oh, I'm going to sound crazy too. I'm telling you. Oh my God. I just thought about the fear, the traumatizing stuff. Oh my God. I need to go to bed.
Saw Comet Ping Pong Pizza, which was also the target of conspiracy theories.
Okay, but what if that was set up or something? I really don't know. I don't know the story. So
A gunman showing up a few years ago. So these crazy conspiracy theories have real.
But I think calling each other crazy left and right, I think that's stupid. I think the labels need to go. They got to go, because we are all entitled to our own opinions, you know. But we're at a place where it seems that people feel that they have the right, but nobody is holding accountability. Nobody is holding themselves responsible. Does that make sense? I don't know.
The consequences. Absolutely.
There
They're
you go,
so
consequences.
obviously just absolutely nuts, Donnie. They really just are.
See, and I don't think that's that's like saying, hey, you're a religious zealot. Hey, Lori, we're going to do an intervention and get you some help, girl. Hey, drug addict, we're going to do an intervention on you and tell you that you have a drug problem and that we're no longer going to enable you. Well, until that drug addict is ready to acknowledge the problem, you're not going to get anywhere with the drug addict or the alcoholic or the narcissist. You can't just go around and say, hey, you're a narcissist. They're going to be like, no, I'm not. You know, I mean, it's, oh my God. I don't know.
Why is it then they continue to circulate? Yeah, I think particularly over the past year, because with lockdowns, etc., all of us are spending so much more time online. All of us are on
Yeah, that's
Facebook
good.
all day, and that's where a lot of
Oh.
this stuff is spreading. But also, you can see people have an incentive to push this sort of stuff as well. You see those small
Good night,
dollar
Princeton.
donations to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who pushed a conspiracy theory a few years back about Jewish space lasers causing wildfires in California. So there is an audience for it, and you could potentially make a buck off it too. It's unbelievable to see at this point, Donnie, and sickening.
I can't take much more of the it's just hate to me. I never even watched that news article, but both are not right. Both are not correct, in my opinion. You got one saying this, you got one saying that, and calling each other a name. I know. I'm sitting there saying I'm gonna whip Justin's ass. So who am I? I just talk shit though. I don't mean it. I get frustrated. I get mad, just and upset, just like the rest of them. But it's my family. Like I don't know. I don't know. What gives me the right? But I just want people that are. I mean, these things. There are things that exist. There are horrible things that happen. They were murdered. I mean, this is not. This is how the story ended. I know how it ended. How did we get here? How did we get here as a people? And how do we get out of here? It's not going to be alone. It's going to be as a people, a united people who put their shit to their differences aside. And you have to be selfless and not selfish. It's not about being right or wrong. It's just about like, hey, there's these victims, you know, can you acknowledge them? Can you just maybe for a second be like, oh, okay, I can see where this might, you know, hurt people. My ignorance, my whatever your walk of life is, your different walk of life. And maybe you just don't know these things yet. Time to become self-aware. Time to be aware of our own wrongdoings, what we are projecting out there on other people. That's where I see it, but it's not really where I intended on this to go tonight. And I apologize for that. It kind of started out at the jump there. But basically, so if someone can have their spirit pushed from their body through trauma, it's one of David Hamblin's freaking theory. That's like, he calls it his parts theory, where he causes people, alleged victims, to split personalities. And so this personality will do this. It's called dissociative identity disorder. And I mean, I can see where not climate change, I'm not ever talking political, please. but the climate of society, so to speak, I know, we kind of seem very fast paced. We kind of don't, a lot of people don't do their own research or take the time to educate themselves. And instead, we're just talking out of our asses. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to be what I expect from other people. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not asking for anything more or less, just match my effort. That's all. We can go on about our walks of lives as different as they are, as similar as they are. At the end of the day, we're human and we are just humaning, and that's it. We don't have to have we don't have to have all the labels, the colors, all the things that divide us as humans. Anyways, I got off on that. I got off topic again. So if Tylee was present for Charles's death, maybe JJ, I don't know. That would account. No, I'm sorry. Would account for maybe her loss of her spirit, like pushing her, whatever the hell that looks like. I don't even know. I'm just trying to figure out some stuff that don't make sense. And then she goes missing, and then JJ, that's traumatizing for him. The Yellowstone trip, right? Then who knows what happened before he was murdered. Then again, you've got Brandon getting shot at. I'm sure that was not on purpose. I'm sure it was not. Who knows? Nobody knows. But you have Tammy getting shot at, the monkey masks, the ghillie suits, the knives, the abundance of knives I saw, the tactical knives, the rope, the duct tape. Then I think of Ruby Frankie. I think of Jody Hildebrandt. I think of Tim Ballard and friends. And I think of all these people in this whole movement, and it's scary in the sense that these things are happening. David Hamblin, why? Why are they happening? What is the end goal? How do we stop it? That's the moral of my story. So then they would be basically, so once they have the traumatic experience, okay, they were all about healing. That's, I was going to go over Ian's documents because of the belief system, so to speak, of, vibrations and all this weird shit that I don't understand, but I've learned a lot about it here and there over the years, just different sources, just trying to get a collective understanding of what these things are to everybody. And because I think just like Julie Rowe is getting pinned, everything's getting pinned on Julie Rowe. I think the same thing's happening for preppers and for energy healers and for Mormons and for Catholics and the labels, all the freaking lovely labels. They're so helpful. But the moral, what I'm trying to get to is that they're causing trauma. But then that's when I started thinking like that, because I was like, well, wait, why are they inducing fear? Fear response, the cortisol, all the things that happen. So I've got to do more research into trauma and what it does to your body. And because I would learn a ton about just what I'm experiencing myself. And anyways, I think it's worth looking into. I'm sorry if this was really divisive. I haven't been able to really read the comments. Seems like we've had a few casualties, and it's, again, nothing intentional. It's nothing personal. It's just talking about uncomfortable things. So we got to get comfortable talking about uncomfortable things if we want change. And I want change in their names, yes, if it can save a life, if their lives, their deaths, their tragic endings, if they can save anybody, I mean, that's all we have. That's all we have. That's it, is their memories and their legacies and their stories. And they're important. And I just really think that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I can't imagine what it would be like if I had just sat back and just, not ever started this channel and met all you good people. Really. Hug your loved ones, keep them close and safe, right? Because you never know. You never know. But mainly also just be kind to everyone. Be your brother's keeper, so to speak. That goes for everybody, whether you have a brother or not. It's just be a good person and try to treat others the way you want to be treated. I'm trying. I'm not perfect. None of us are. Here's some humble pie. I did watch The Help the other night, and that was good. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. We got to love ourselves before we can love anyone else, for sure. Yeah, I know. That's again change. And from my perspective, I don't know how the rest of my family or other family members feel, but change is the best. It's the best apology. Screw your money. I don't want your money. I want change. I want change. Not chinkle chinkle. Change through action. Actions speak louder than words. We see. I've watched these people. I study these people, and it's a lot of talk, and it's not a whole lot of backing that up. You can see a lot in people and how they back up what they are saying. They do. Time will tell. Everything comes to light. But anyways, I didn't mean to go this long. I've been trying to make these shorter. Anyways, I appreciate you guys being here, and happy late birthday. Hello, Brian's. Happy birthday to you. I'm not gonna sing anymore. You look, my dad used to say it, you look like a monkey and smell like one too. Tomorrow is Silas's birthday. He'll be 8. And no, we are not getting him baptized. If anybody wanted to know. But anyways, justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Love always wins, and you guys are proof of that. We just gotta pay it compassion, pass it along.